Hello, lovely people. New adventure unlocked. I'm headed to the next game. My mama's here. We're going to Aqua Zumba. I am getting out of my comfort zone. I am trying fencing today. I'm just there for the vibes. I know nothing about baseball. I'm there for the vibes. Hello, lovely people. Hope you all had a good weekend. Listen, Linda, listen. So I stepped on the scale and your girl lost 5 pounds. I just hear the applause. So after this, I'm gonna go for a nice little walk. I've got a groove going. I'm feeling good. Listen. You don't have to go to the gym and run a marathon up in here, okay? Just walking here and there, and I like to make my walks fun. I like to, invite people to go for walks with me. I'm doing it, y'all. I'm doing it. I'm working on my summer 2026 body. But I'm feeling good. Anyway, listen, so I got a DM. It go down in the DM, it go down. Down in the DM, it go down. But my DMs are not popping. My DMs is like, hey, do you have resources for so-and-so? But that is perfectly fine. All right, so I really wanted to read this because, I was like, I can relate. I understand so much. So let me read this and answer because I always feel like if somebody has a question about something, most likely that somebody has experienced it as well. So this person wrote, hi, Dr. Pamela. I feel really behind in life. I'm 36 years old. I'm unmarried with no children. All around me, I see my friends getting married, having baby showers, having kids, and progressing in their career. I just feel really behind, and it really makes me feel isolated. Sometimes I don't even want to hang out with my friends because I feel like there's really nothing for me to talk about. Can you tell me how to handle this? So I definitely understand. So women, we have this thing. Well, first of all, if you were in front of me, I will give you a big old hug. Women, we have this thing that when we hit 30, the time just starts ticking, right? And part of it is biological, which we can't help. Part of it is societal. So you mentioned you're 36 years old. So you talked about being unmarried, you talked about career, and you talked about babies. So those 3 different things, right? So society tells us that when we get to a certain level of life, we should have blank, right? And when you see that's not happening for you, that can cause, I talk to a lot of women, especially Black women, about the stage of life they're in. So I'm gonna say this. As they say, comparison is the thief of joy. But 2 things can happen at the same time. You can feel happy for your friends as you see they're hitting certain milestones and feel sad and frustrated in your situation. But be mindful of what you're using that situation to cause you to do. Now, if you're like, man, I feel so sad that I'm not married or I don't have kids or I'm not progressing in my career, but you're still using that as a tool to motivate you, to push you, and to inspire you, that's a healthy way to deal with it. Now, you mentioned that this is causing you to feel isolated. You're not hanging out with your friends because you feel like there's nothing to talk about. So that is an unhealthy way to respond to it. So there's this, when I do in-person sessions here and there, not as often, but there used to be this picture. I'm gonna see if I can find it to insert it in here. But there used to be this picture that I would have in my office of Michael Phelps and Ryan, I forgot his name, or maybe it was another swimmer. They were, I think my eyelash is about to fall off. Sorry, y'all. They were in the middle of a race, and you see Michael Phelps is looking straight ahead and he's focused, right? And he's actually leading. And Ryan, is it Lochte? Yeah, Ryan Lochte his head is above the water and he's looking at Michael Phelps. So guess what? He's trailing behind. And I really love that picture because I like to, when people bring up I'm not where I should be in life, I'm not doing well in my career, blah, blah, blah. I like to tell them, look at this picture right here. See, Michael Phelps is in his own lane and he's focused and he's looking straight ahead. But because Ryan Lochte is above the water looking at Michael Phelps, he's trailing behind. So anytime you are focused on what somebody else is doing, you are trailing behind. So you got to be in your own lane and focus on what you're doing. Now, let me say this. It'll be unrealistic for me to say, again, that don't compare yourself to other people. It is realistic. Like, it's normal to compare yourself to other people. But again, what are you doing with that comparison? So you talk about career. Have you sat down and maybe you wrote down, don't do the 5-year plan because maybe 5 years is a little bit too long, but have you done the 1-year plan? All right, what's my long-term goal? Maybe I want to get here, and look at like what's getting in the way of me getting to the career goal. Am I stuck on my job? Because you didn't really give a lot of details, right? And what you're going through is what I call like an existential crisis. So when you're going through like, what's my purpose? Why am I here? I'm not, that's all the existential stuff, right? So sit down and just kind of write like, okay, I want to be married, right? Now, there's a really good book called The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. And that is a really good book about just your thought process and manifesting and, just the law of attraction, right? If you want a partner, are you putting yourself in positions to meet a partner? Are you making space in your aura to meet a partner, right? So like, for example, like if you live by yourself, is your space even conducive for a partner or a man to come over? Are you putting yourself in environments where it attracts men, right? Like example, like fall is here, there's football games or basketball or baseball, whatever, right? Like, are you trying something new, right? So like, I'm just giving an example of like, for example, I have a client that is similar to what you wrote where she's like, I'm not meeting anybody. But then she also says, but I also don't go anywhere. Okay, so if you don't meet, you're saying I'm not meeting anyone, but I'm also not going anywhere, then how do you expect to align yourself in a position to meet someone, right? Unless you're like, I'm just waiting for the UPS man to come and then that's how I'm gonna meet him, right? But also, again, I might go a little bit biblical, but they say faith without works is dead. What are you doing, right? You're praying for a partner, but what are you doing to position yourself to be a partner to the partner that you want, right? So like a common thing is like, you might say, oh, I want a partner that's fit, that's buff. Are you fit? Are you buff? Are you putting yourself in a position to be healthy? You talk about like children. Listen, let me say this. If I knew then what I knew now, I would do things so differently. I have been having more and more conversations with young women, because I do consider you a young woman, even though I'm sure in your mind you're like, I'm 36, about options. Have you considered freezing your eggs? You can freeze your eggs, okay? Check and see, does whatever company or organization that you work for, do they cover things like freezing your eggs? Because I know it is costly. I'm not going to sit here and just say, oh, just freeze your eggs. I know it's costly, but you have to do the research. Sometimes there are grants and scholarships too to help you freeze your eggs if you have a health issue or whatever. Start having, since people don't want to have conversation with the OBGYN because they think I'm not there yet. Start having a conversation with your OBGYN to say, I may not have a partner, but I desire children one day. Like, what are my options? Like, you'll be surprised the resources that are out there. So have that conversation. And people sometimes think like freezing your eggs is all unnatural. Now, again, if you have some religious beliefs, then I can't touch on that. But if religion is not a factor, consider freezing your eggs. If I knew today what I knew back then, when I hit 30, I would have been frozen my eggs. Because when I was 30, I did work for a nonprofit, and that was a part of their benefits. And I remember seeing it and not really thinking anything, because guess what? Having my child was not easy. I thought you just bust it wide open and boom, here comes the baby. Boy, was I wrong. So listen, if I were you, I would consider freezing your eggs. There is nothing wrong with having a conversation with your OB. You don't have to have all the partner and the married. No, have conversations now, okay? Please. But here's the thing. Do not isolate yourself from your friends, my dear, because you are suffering in silence. This is not the time to isolate from your friends because you feel like they're doing well and you're not. This is a time where you lean into your friends. If you have a friend that's married, call your girlfriend and be like, okay, tell me about married life. Like, what is that like, right? I don't know, does your husband have friends, right? Or if your husband's friends are trash, but just tell me like what it takes to be a wife. What does it take to be a partner? You know, what are the pros and cons of marriage? Like start being a student of marriage. Like use this opportunity, right? To turn it around for the positive. Start thinking in the mindset like, I'm going to be a wife. I'm going to be a mother. Like, if you need to create a vision board, create a vision board. If you need to start going to church or whatever your faith is, like start doing that. Like tell yourself, I'm going to be married by X, Y, and Z, right? Again, I might go biblical if you are a Christian or whatever, right? I don't want to assume, right? They say, make your request known unto God. God, I want to be married. I want to have a baby. I want to move up in my career. Write it down. Right? They say, write your vision down, write it down. Okay. I feel so passionate about this because again, for me, I had my baby later in life. Okay. And it was not easy. Okay. So I think before you start looking externally, look internally first. What are the work that you're doing for yourself? How are you finding little joys in life? I'm going to do a video about why I started doing the new adventures each month because it speaks to finding little joys in life. So while you don't have these things right now, think about how you can position yourself, you know, to get those things and start working on those. I want to be married. Do you have the emotional capacity? Do you have the maturity? Do you have the mental health to be in a marriage? Because trust me, honey, it ain't easy. You know, what are you doing to put yourself in the position? But I also want to say this, mama, extend yourself some grace, okay? Do not, because sometimes I'll see people that will say, like, I'm ready for this, I'm ready for this. And they will just have a baby with anybody. They'll just marry anybody. They'll just take any old job. And then they end up putting themselves in a worse position. So just pause and take a minute. Be a student of life. Focus on what is going to make you happy. And maybe you don't need to work on all these things at once. Maybe it's the career, because maybe you have a little bit more control in the career aspect. All right, where am I in my career versus where I'm trying to go? I'll give an example. Maybe I'm trying to be a teacher, but maybe I'm an admin. Okay, what does it take to be a teacher? Maybe I need to go to school. All right, maybe I don't have the funds to go to school. Do I have a job that has tuition reimbursement? You know, again, I don't want to assume. Can I go to community college because it's cheaper and take one class, right? Like, you don't have to have all the answers, but start small. Okay, so give yourself some grace, right? And again, maybe teacher is the long-term goal, but what are the short-term goals? I am a writer. I write everything down. And I'm very passionate about this subject because I recently got my doctorate, okay? While working, being a working mom, like so many responsibilities. So I strongly believe that whether you think you can or you can't, either way, you're right. If you tell yourself I can't do something, it's going to happen. If you tell yourself you can do something, it's going to happen. Okay. I had all the excuses in the world. I have a brand new baby. I have all these responsibilities. I'm working. Like, I don't have time for school. I literally chipped away at it. I really need to do a story time. I'm going back to school. I really need to. I will. I literally chipped away at it. And finally, I got my doctorate. So if I can do it, anybody can do it. It's all in how you're looking at it, right? And utilizing your resources. So listen, I wish you much luck. I feel like I'm going to do a part 2 for this, but you know what? I'm going to put on in my mental Rolodex that I need to do a story time about going back to school as an adult, right? Because that stuff is not for the, That stuff is not for the faint at heart, okay? So I wish you good luck. Show yourself some grace. Don't isolate from your friends. Like, I'm a Libra, so I'm all about like love and relationships and friendships. Okay, I need my girlfriends. I have no shame in my game. I will call my girlfriend and be like, girl, I need to see you. Okay, so and be transparent with them. Like, jealousy is a normal emotion, just like happiness, sadness, joy is what you do with it. Okay, so if you see that somebody's got something, you would say, girl, good for you. I'm happy for you. Like, show me how you got there. Don't sit and suffer in silence and be like, bitter and jealous and things like that. Show me how you got there, right? Like, I think for me, like, I recently saw that one of my friends had this big speaking engagement. And I was like, whoa, I could have been like, oh my God, like, I'm not getting a speaking engagement. I called that girl up. I said, girl, teach me your ways. Okay. I have no shame in asking for help. I have no shame in just using other women to inspire me. Okay. Cause I don't get jealous. I use that as a motivating tool. I see you doing something. Oh, cool. Like, I get motivated. I get excited, like, girl, teach me, because I want my girlfriends do that to me too. I have a girlfriend come and be like, girl, I really am trying to start a YouTube, but I'm so scared. I'm like, girl, do it. Like, I'm not a pro at this YouTube thing. I just talk about subjects or things that I like, and I just upload and hope that other people like it. Okay. So I'm like, oh, you want to start a YouTube? Let me just teach you what I know, because I'm still learning, but we're going to learn together. Okay. You need friends like that. Right? Now, if you've got friends that like gatekeep and stuff like that, they ain't the friends for you. I'm not a gatekeeper. Girl, where'd you get that outfit from? Let me tell you. Okay? You don't need friends like that, other than find new friends. And I have a video somewhere in my stuff about making friends and finding new friends, things like that. So anyway, good luck. Show yourself some grace. I'm going to go for a walk. Bye.